This is Mark Kris from Memorial Sloan Kettering, speaking today about the extraordinary meeting of the Oncologic Drugs Advisory Committee with FDA on October 5th, 2023. The meeting was an unusual one. The advisors were not being asked to decide whether or not a drug should be approved, whether or not the drug is truly safe or effective, but instead they were being asked to comment on the adequacy of the clinical trial that was being submitted to the FDA to justify the passage for Sotorasib from accelerated to full approval. I think the word that would best define the meeting was disappointment. I think first starting with patients. One of the big issues in this trial with many patients that after being randomized to docetaxel, the comparator, simply withdrew from the trial. And I think what that does is it talks about the level of disappointment and frustration by our patients that our available agents are number one, not extremely effective, and number two, have adverse effects. And the degree of their, I'll call it disappointment with our current agents is that they were willing to take a drug with limited use in this setting over a standard agent. I think doctors were disappointed. There was a thread that doctors quickly switched patients from the standard arm so that they could get the investigational agent. Clearly disappointment by the sponsor applicant that this data was not compelling enough. By the way, the data showed a 5-week improvement in progression-free survival, the endpoint of the trial. It met its statistical goal. But I think people were troubled by this 5-week improvement was less than the every 6-week interval of CT scans in the trial. I think the FDA was disappointed. They, I think, see that Sotorasib is effective and safe. However, they did not get from this trial the information that they needed to go to full approval. And the Oncology Committee was disappointed as well. And I think the words of Dr. Pazdur at the meeting really speak of, I assume, for him and also for the scientific community. And if I hope I'm quoting properly, I would hope that the field would have moved forward, that we would be able to show superiority over a drug that was approved 23 years ago. Where are we going in the field here? And I think that was everybody's feeling, that we were all very, very disappointed with the short degree of progression-free survival improvement. By the way, that was not the discussion that went on whether that was a valid endpoint or not. It was just that the magnitude of improvement was just so small. It made any, I'll call it defects in the design or conduct of the trial, make you question the whole trial. I'll put it to you that if there was a 5-month improvement in progression-free survival, this ODAC would not have occurred and this full approval would have been seen. So what about some comments about this and how do we move forward here? I think first, one thing about this trial, we can use the data from the Sotorasib arm to add to the data we already have as to the safety and effectiveness of the drug. And I think that it is useful data there. And it can help, physicians choosing the drug, patients choosing to take the drug, make a decision. I think that there was consensus there that Sotorasib should not be removed from the market. I think that would be a big mistake. I think people saw that the drug is very helpful. There are individual patients that have quite an excellent outcome from the drug, and also that the toxicity that's been seen now in this even larger series is comparable to other agents in the space. I must say I would not advocate any kind of a comparison trial with docetaxel. I think doing this trial again would not be helpful. But I do think it's important to make this drug available, and hopefully the current approval can permit that, because I think it should be left to physicians to choose to use it and patients to choose to pursue it. I think that the trial, the blinded review by a central committee was a very problematic issue in this trial. It would be better if that didn't have to happen, and there has to be another way. I would hope that we would look to innovation in trying to use a lower dose of Sotorasib. There is some evidence that 240 might be enough, but I would really hope that a large clinical trial to show basically the equivalence of 240 to the higher dose, that would be necessary. I think that would be a huge waste of resources and keep us away from finding the prize. And I would hope that perhaps we could find a way to make possible a 240 starting dose with escalation based on tolerance and also on response. Can there be a way that change in dosing can be done within the current regulatory framework? I think it's really important to going forward to pursue trials that are looking for and designed to show superiority. And I think any trials with Sotorasib, a good drug, useful drug, trying to show its equivalence to comparators that everybody has said are not what we want to be offering our patients as doctors and not what patients want. And again, I think how patients acted in this trial. I think one last thought is this is a useful drug, and we do need to think moving forward rather than going back and asking questions about dose or repeating a trial with docetaxel. Is there a way to add it to other therapies that are curative, such as radiation or surgery? I'd ask that everybody in the oncology community accept Dr. Pazder's advice here and his challenge that we can do better than this, and we really need to do better than this, what we saw in that trial. Let's move forward, and I think we had some good ideas here of ways to do it.